Hello. Apparently we are live. So the bells and whistles tell me, and we can tell. Oh, Megaleech is in there already. Hello. Oops. Apparently we are live. I don't make that mistake very often of leaving the volume on, but I made it there. And hello, Luke. How are you? Just gearing up and getting in. Mr. Grant Gregory, hello, and Mystery 9, hello, hello, hello. Everybody's piling in, and Justin, hello. And Charlie, oh, the gang's all here. The usual suspects. Coming in for the chats on a Tuesday night. I know, it was really weird weather today in Melbourne. We had some very hot weather on the weekend, and it cooled right down. Like walking around at lunchtime, it actually felt cold, like not freezing cold, but I was just walking around in a shirt, and it felt cold. Then it warmed up quite a bit in the late afternoon. Not hot, but yeah, it's quite weird considering we had almost 40 degrees on Sunday. And then about half that today, and yeah, weirdly actually feeling a bit cold walking around, which I wasn't expecting. Grant, I look sober. It's work night, buddy. I'm not really going to get drunk. Yeah, whatever I drink. I've got my Pepsi with a bit of lime here. What I have been doing the last couple of weeks is making a cocktail at the halfway mark. I might do that again. Batman Sport, hello to you too, sir. Justin, working on a job application. Good luck with that. I had to do sort of late last year, like October, November. I was doing a whole bunch of job applications. It took longer than I wanted it to. Because I'm a contractor, I have to go. Sorry. Mouse cable here is being weird. Because I'm a contractor, I do job interviews a lot more than most people. And I was sending all these applications, and I was getting, because sort of work I do, you have to do through agencies, and all the agencies going, oh yeah, and then nothing would happen, and it dragged on for longer than I wanted. And then this week, I had 2 job interviews in one morning, like one at 9:30 and one at 10. No, I think one was at 9 and one was at 10:30, and then there were 2 or 3 others who wanted to see me for interviews later in the week but hadn't set a timing. Like this was on a Monday, just after I left the second interview. It was about 11:30, and I was wandering off to find somewhere to have lunch because I was in the city. About 10-15 minutes after I left the second interview, I got a call back from people from the first interview, and these were actually the first interviews I'd had. I kept telling agencies they should get me interviews because I always get a job if I get an interview. And these were the first interviews I had, and yeah, the first one responded and said they wanted me like now-ish. So I said, cool, I'll accept that. And then literally 10-15 minutes after that, the second one called and said, oh no, actually it was the second one who called about 15 minutes after I left and wanted me. Like they decided straight away they wanted me. And because I had told them I'd had another interview. And lucky for them, they did that. Because 10 or 15 minutes after that, the first one called me and said they wanted to offer me a job. And I went, ooh, I actually just accepted an offer. Sorry. And then the other ones who wanted to see me later in the week were all disappointed. Well, I've been fucking around for about a month, which is longer than I wanted to. Just give me an interview. People love me. I always get the job if I get an interview. Patman, how's AIDSy? Okay, I hope. I haven't heard from him recently. He was doing a bit of in and out of hospital. I should message him and find out what he's doing because It's all been worry. Ahoy, hoy, big boy. Look, that's cheery. Someone got hit by a train in Adelaide. That happens. Apparently, part of the training for train drivers, suburban and country rail drivers, part of the training is they sit them down and say, you will kill someone. Nobody does this job without there being fatal accidents or a suicide where someone jumps in front of your train. Very selfish, that, I thought. Suicide is a bad thing generally, but when you inflict it on someone else, that's really shitty. But yes, basically, if you're a train driver, you will kill someone. So that's something they have to be prepared for, because apparently no one who stays in the job gets through it without there being a fatality. So that's a cheery thought, isn't it? I mean, I swear to God, the article I read that in, it talked about one driver who, so what happened, he was driving an express suburban train, and at one platform, station where he wasn't stopping, so the train was going reasonably fast, he saw someone running along the platform the same direction he was going, and they were running a bit faster than he was going, and they run, and then they just leapt in front of the train, and it hit him, and apparently the person smashed through the windscreen, which is pretty strong glass, which mutilated all their limbs. It killed them. The impact killed them, but it cut off some of their limbs, and the driver was pinned to his seat by this mutilated corpse. And unsurprisingly, that driver never drove a train again, and went through years of therapy. Pretty goddamn traumatic. How about that? Okay, Dr. Obama, am I pro-life or pro-choice? I'm pro-abortion. I am pro the free and easy availability of abortion because it's an important service. Mr. Grant Gregory, there is no such thing as a fourth trimester abortion. If you are parroting the absolutely ridiculous anti-choice bullshit that the lying sacks of shit in the US are saying, there was a medical procedure made legal. What is falsely being called late-term abortion? What it usually means is the procedure is only ever performed either when the unborn child has already died in the womb, which happens disturbingly often right at the end of a pregnancy, or there's some awful complication that either threatens the life of the mother or makes it clear that it isn't possible for the fetus to survive post-delivery. And just as a fun tip, the tip that there's no such thing as a fourth trimester, tri meaning 3, you don't have a fourth third. But anyway, and oh, by the way, hello, Keiko and Tendai. See you in there. Bobo, I'm fine. Hopefully AZ's okay. Patman was just asking, look, I don't know for sure. I haven't heard from him for a little while. Huh? I should message him and find out what he's doing. If I don't hear from him that often, means he is in hospital, and he has been in and out of hospital a little lately. So who knows exactly what's going on? Yes, Mr. Grant Gregory, what you read was an article that was lying. Yes, that is deliberately incorrect language used for inflammatory terms. Tendai, any new cocktail recipes? I've got my cocktail chronicles here. I actually, on the weekend, I did something I hadn't done for ages, where I just went through it from beginning to end and looked at things. I randomly open a page like this one sounds interesting. I don't think I've ever made this one. This is called a Lucian Gaudian. It's got gin, Campari, Cointreau, and vermouth. I could make those. I have all that. And it says here, okay, a Lucian Gaudian is for those times that require a cocktail named for an Olympic fencing champ. And there are two things to know about this drink. First, the name. Lucien Gaudian was a French fencer and apparently a damn good one. He medalled at the Olympics in 1924, 1928 with 4 golds and 2 silvers in both foil and épée. And he also had French and international champions titles under his belt. Second, the cocktail. I have no idea what the connection, if any, between Gaudian and the drink may be, or even if he ever knew of its existence. The drink does likely flow from Europe. This recipe appeared in a French book in 1929. Campari was scarce stateside until decades after the war. Its gin and Campari pairing make a clear relationship to the Negroni. But the drink is its own creature. Before dinner, a welcome diversion from the norm. On guard. Maybe I'll make that. Maybe I'll make a Lucien Gaudian. Yes, Grant, the sad news is Fox News lies. Dr. Obama, the outcome of the Royal Banking Commission. I have not seen it in any detail. I assume the outcome is the banks are outright fucking criminals and should all be put in jail, because that's what they uncovered. Not that, well, banks are a bit mean. Banks are only interested in profit, not in customers' well-being. They discovered again and again and again and again the banks were acting in a way that can only be described as criminal, where they were deliberately acting against the interests of their clients. They were lying to their clients about what they were doing. They were stealing the client's money. They're absolutely shit. So Grant Gregory, I haven't seen the trailer for the Bundy movie with Zac Efron. Haven't watched the doco on Netflix either. Not that interested, like most people. I went through my serial killer phase back in the day. One of the more interesting things about Ted Bundy, he was obviously very manipulative, and he used his relative good looks to seduce women that he then murdered horribly. And I assume this is probably in the documentary. Among the various things he did in his life, he worked as a counsellor on a suicide prevention line. And he was there for a while. And after he left, and sometime later he was convicted of all these murders. And this woman who worked with him couldn't believe that he was this horrible murderer, because she only knew him through work, where he was a counsellor and suicide prevention counsellor. And she said there is no doubt whatsoever that he stopped some people from committing suicide. So why does someone on the one hand counsel people who are considering suicide, and on the other hand go on killing sprees? And she wrote a book called The Killer Next to Me. I think her surname was Rule. And that was a really big bestseller. And she ended up making a career. Writing true crime stuff. It's called The Killer Beside Me. What was her name? It's been made into a series of her. Anne Rule. I thought her surname was Rule. Yeah, Anne Rule. And she ended up making a career out of writing true crime stuff after that. So, yeah, it's a weird world. I honestly don't know the details of the Bank Royal Commission, so I don't know how damning it is. I don't know how easy the banks got off. I mean, what's really telling is not just how often all the people in the LNP coalition voted against the Banking Royal Commission, saying it was unnecessary, but all the wise opinion columnists, economists who write for newspapers and whatnot, who were so wisely saying for years, because the pressure to have the Royal Commission was on for years, and they're also wisely saying, there's no point. We have a brilliant, wonderful, perfect banking system. This is a political witch hunt. Surprisingly, they said the same thing about the Royal Commission into Institutional Child Abuse, which showed just how horrific the extent of child abuse was, notably in the Catholic Church, but not only in the Catholic Church. Yes, and these people are paid to pass their wisdom to everyone, and they're clearly full of shit. AngryPixie, we've already covered a couple of topics. Banking Royal Commission seems to be on people's minds. Christopher, I say far worse things than I went through a serial killer phase. People have no trouble taking little bits out of context with me, as they do on the regular. So I don't worry too much about wacky things that I say that could be taken out of context, because people are going to do it if they're going to do it. Luke, you in sport mode. Neither know nor care about AFL or the Super Bowl. I mean, obviously, I was at work today. Could have watched the Super Bowl. I have ESPN on the old Foxtel. But no, I was at work. And apparently even people who like the American football said the Super Bowl was shit. So that's interesting. I'll have to go on YouTube and watch the ads, because it's always fascinating to see what they do with the ads, how many $1 million they spend on a 60-second spot that's never shown again. There's a very weird thing that's, you know, come to be about the Super Bowl. Musical Aviator, happy Year of the Pig to you. Yeah, I did see someone having a laugh at like that TiVo service, which I don't even know if it exists in Australia. It's certainly not popular in Australia, but I think it's still popular in America, which is, you know, just a digital recorder for the TV. They were going to have a feature that if you recorded the Super Bowl to watch later, you could automatically just fast forward to the ads, skip the football, and watch the ads. Yeah, like I said, when I saw that even people who like the game said that the Super Bowl was shit, doesn't really speak well. And everyone's ripping on Maroon 5 for how bad Maroon 5's halftime track. Oh my God, Dr. Amaro, I just saw Charlie say, my stalker's old news, I missed your actual comment. Am I aware of the videos mocking me by, yeah, look, he's not the only way. He's like the local ringleader, and there's some little sycophants who follow him in whatever he does. Now, there is, in fact, my man, what I describe as a little cottage industry of sad little fuckers, various misogynists, racists, and fuckheads who disagree with my idea that, you know, basic human decency is a good character trait, and they'd prefer to be their nasty little racist, misogynist selves. Oh, Byron, I saw someone make that joke. The Super Bowl was so bad, it looked like both teams playing knew the winner would meet with Trump, and neither side was very enthused by that prospect. Let's squeeze my lime into my drink, I think. I like lime and Pepsi. Stir it a little bit. Don't know where that finger's been, but it's been in my drink now. But yes, the superb owl, not much of a thing, apparently. No one was particularly enthused by it, not even the players. Although I did see another funny thing I saw on the TV. Maybe I saw it on the internet. One of the coaches apparently has a bad habit of, he's so fixated on the game, and he walks more onto the field than he's allowed to. And so they've had to hire someone whose job is to grab him and pull him back when he's wandered too close to the touchline. There's this guy whose sole job is to grab him and pull him back, which is hilarious, quite honestly. Hey, Chronic, how's it going, dude? Safa, well, that's a bit heavier. You're watching Foreign Correspondent about the US refugee deal. And no, Justin, I absolutely will not watch the US State of the Union address. I never have. And I absolutely would not waste my time watching Trump's drivel, because it's absolutely fucking ridiculous. Mr. Knight, can I believe Gavin McInnes is going to have a lawsuit against the Southern Poverty Law Centre for saying the Proud Boys are a hate group? I can believe it, because he's a fuckwit. Funnier than that about him is because apparently he lives in quite an expensive neighborhood, and the neighbors all worked out who he was, and they just started putting signs in their window that said things like "hate has no place here." They didn't mention him, they didn't mention the Proud Boys, they didn't say anything beyond that. They just said "hate has no place here," and him and his wife are going, "They're picking on us." It's like, really? You're the one self-identifying as a purveyor of hate. They didn't mention you. They didn't even mention the Proud Boys. They just said hate has no place there. I love it when people say that shit. It's just hilarious. It's like when you say something in America about racism or homophobia or bigotry, misogyny, and you get a Trump supporter jumping up saying, "How dare you say that about Trump?" You don't fucking say anything about Trump. I was just commenting generally. You're the one who assumes it's about Trump. But yes. Luke, did the fires in Vic sort of? I assume so, because I haven't heard any more about them. I haven't heard any big reports about major damage. I know there were some very threatening fires. Must have got them under control. Oh, Jesus, Megaleech. Daniel Dale live fact checks Trump, keeps track of his lies. My God, what a self-abuse path in life to choose. That's sad to subject yourself to that. Good Lord. Oh God. Dr. Obama, I did hear One Nation had recruited a Muslim woman to stand in the election. I don't know any details. I don't know any details about the person. I don't know any details about any deal they had. I did see hilarious things about One Nation supporters losing their shit completely at it. But yes, it'll be interesting to find out more about that woman who is apparently going to stand for One Nation. A little bit surreal. Like I said, I'll be interested to hear more about this person and what their story is. But yeah, Justin, I heard about that. Four Corners said that Border Force in Australia were questioning Saudi women who were arriving alone, where's your male guardian? Because they were coming here on a tourist visa, and Border Force went, wait, Saudi women aren't supposed to travel alone. She's probably trying to escape. She's going to claim asylum here. We don't want that. And yeah, they were, if they were suspicious of these Saudi women, they were sending them back to what was obviously an incredibly dangerous environment. It's just like, wow, well, you know, only a fucking piece of garbage would do something like join Border Force. But to take it on yourself to go, hey, look, all I know about Saudi Arabia is they treat women like shit, and the women really aren't meant to travel alone. Here's a Saudi woman traveling alone. I think I'll send her back. Like, what a, you would have to be such a fucking piece of shit to do that. That's just the lowest. Saudi Arabia Fund says, Saudi Arabia, the royal family, the Saud royal family, are pieces of shit. And the fact that we toady up to them because of oil is really sickening. But the Saudi regime is absolutely fucked. And yes, we've got heaps of evidence of that Saud royal family of financing terrorism generally, right down to, of course, Osama bin Laden, who was one of the Saudi royals. But yes, there is basically nothing good about the Saud royal family. Look, you reckon Trump's scared of stairs? I have not paid that close attention to him on stairs. I know he seems to not know how umbrellas work. There was that really funny bit of video of him just putting the umbrella down outside Air Force One because he didn't know how to put it down or something and didn't know what it was. He's just such a fucking train wreck. I'm stunned. I cannot understand. I absolutely cannot understand how someone can consider themselves a Trump fan. I mean, okay, I get that they like the racism, they like the bigotry, they like the misogyny. It gives them license to do the stuff that Trump says. But when they idolize Trump, and it's like, dude, he's a fucking moron. He's an embarrassment. He's a coward and a liar and pathetic and can't string two sentences together. And the level of denial required to be a Trump fan absolutely does my head in. Like, and this goes way beyond any sort of partisan idea of not liking politics. I mean, like, along with everyone else, I mocked George Bush for being a bit of a thickie because he was. And, you know, his vice, Cheney, was like evil personified. He was like a Batman villain. He's very cartoonish in his villainy. But Trump is, I don't know, he's just this awful mishmash of psychopath, bigot, and insecure child. It's one of the worst combinations of character traits I've ever seen. And just his outright incompetence and stupidity on top of everything else. He's thick as shit and absolutely pathetic. It's like, wow, okay, well, you know, the world's strange. I can't work it out. Mr. Ryan, you reckon Pence is not far behind for this worst? I think Pence, well, he's immoral, amoral, all that. bullshit posturing, religious evangelism, and, you know, taking money from tobacco companies to say smoking's not dangerous. And his extreme bigotry that he excuses with religion. He's very bad, but I don't know, Cheney was just actively evil and stole billions of dollars through the Halliburton company. And that's the thing. I would say, oh, I thought Bush was bad, but he looks good compared to Trump. It's important to remember Bush is thick as shit. Bush and Cheney launched an illegal war based on lies, and Cheney and his pals at Halliburton siphoned off billions of dollars in a completely criminal way that's never been investigated. It's like, holy fuck. You know, it's just because Trump is a much more repellent person. The Bush administration was up to terrible shit. Yeah, Tendo, I haven't seen the movie with Christian Bale playing Dick Cheney. It's just called Vice. Yeah, good old Christian Bale doing his body transformation stuff. Put on all the weight to be Trump. He could have worn prosthetics, but no, he's not wearing prosthetics. He's Christian Bale. He's got to put on the weight. So now he's done horrifyingly emaciated for the movie The Machinist, unbelievably super buff as Batman, and now really overweight and middle-aged to be Cheney. Him and his bloody method acting. And hello, nobody. Oh, God, Justin, imagine the Trump movie. It's just, you know, maybe he's we're finally gonna have a finalization of the Mueller investigation and criminal charges happen, but for fuck's sake, it's so bizarre. Oh, that's sad, nobody, hearing that someone's died. Yeah, I was reflecting the other, maybe on the live stream the other day, I don't know. But there are at least 6 people in my videos over the, well, it's coming up on 13 years that I've been on YouTube. There are at least 6 people who died after I had them in videos. So I'm not saying I curse people. Kevin, hello. Out okay. Yes, this is the human condition, I guess. We're born to die. Trump is Hitler. Nice username. Hello again, Kevin. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, but I had a thing. It's quite a few years ago now. But a friend of mine, a college friend, like someone I'd known for ages, and I'd stayed in contact with, one of the few people I'd stayed in contact with. He got killed in a nightclub. So I found out about it on the evening news. Like, just had the news on one night, and his face comes up and said, you know, killed in a nightclub. And I was just like, what? And it's just this weirdest feeling of not knowing what to say or what to do, because it's just so surreal. Yes, AngryPixie, if you have a shirt that says, I survived shooting with AngryAussie, people are going to take it the wrong way and think it involves guns and shooting people. In other words, you probably should do it. Trumpy's Hitler. What's the scoop? We are just, look, as usual, having our usual freewheeling conversation. What are we, half an hour in? We've already had abortion, the Banking Royal Commission, and what a train wreck Trump is. We go all over the place. I mean, we could really go for the severe hot button topics of how fucking racist do you have to be before people won't argue that you're racist. Kevin, what's happening with your general election here? We do not have a date set yet. It'll be sometime between March and May. And in all probability, the sitting Conservative coalition is going to get fucking creamed. So needless to say, I will be doing a live stream on election night and getting hammered. And if the 1,000,000 to 1 shot, they hold on to government, then I'll just be sad. But if, as is extremely likely, they get smashed, I'll be gloating big time. Who's more like Hitler? Adolf Hitler or Donald Trump? Well, I think we say Hitler. But I will say, and this is, Trump defenders always foam at the mouth and he's like Hitler. No, no, but I'm talking about his advisors and his policies and his propaganda is literally straight out of the Goebbels playbook. They literally followed the instructions laid out by Goebbels, how to control the masses with propaganda. It's actually quite freaky. And as I have said before, the Trump administration has made me more of a student of history than I was, and it is actually quite freaky the number of parallels you can draw between the rise of the Nazi Party and the rise of Trump, which is not saying Trump's a Nazi and then Nazi Party, but I am saying, in no shadow of a doubt, you can draw a really disconcerting number of parallels between the rise of the Nazis and the rise of Trump. I don't think Trump's as bad as the Nazis. I think Trump has had people who straight up advocate Nazi policies in his inner circle. The most extreme one was Steve Bannon, whose stated goal is to actually dismantle the United States democracy. He's repeatedly on record as saying his ultimate goal would be to dismantle the American government. That's his goal. So it's like, what the fuck? Justin, I haven't seen the latest Michael Moore movie. Is it any good? I feel like I haven't been into Michael Moore's stuff for a long time, because even for me, he's gone for sort of lazy, cheap polemic a lot of the time. Doesn't mean he doesn't have anything worthwhile to say. I think I did watch Fahrenheit 9/11. I watched at least part of it. I think I watched all of it. But I'm going to show my age and say I actually saw his first documentary, Roger and Me, in the cinema. Well, obviously at that point, I didn't know anything about Michael Moore. It was his first documentary. And I really liked Roger and Me, but I think he's sort of down. Oh yeah, the Flint one was good. I did see the Flint one. Like, even for someone who's very anti-gun like me and thinks America needs to seriously sort their shit out with gun control, I thought his one about guns took a lot of cheap shots and was very selective. But you know, he says some good stuff as well. Oh, so Justin, you just raised that he made a Hitler comparison. Well, it's actually basically, I think it's impossible to honestly review the rise of Trump without looking at parallels with Hitler. If you look at the rise of Trump and don't consider similarities between that and the rise of the Nazis, you're not being honest, quite frankly. Alexander Dale, cheap shots. I actually wasn't trying to make a pun there, but I accidentally did. So there you go. But yes, but Michael Moore's okay. Not really into him. Oh, but I tell you who I fucking hate, that people seem to think I'll like, Bill Maher. God, he's a piece of shit. He's awful. He's just fucking terrible. And because he's, supposedly left-wing and snarky comedian, people assume I like him, and I fucking don't. He's really obnoxious, and he is a misogynist, and he is a racist, and he's got this real fucking superiority complex going on. And his fucking ego is out of control. This is me. I'm not short on ego, but I find his ego just unbearable. And yes, Charlie, he's a smug wanker. He's so fucking smug, it's sickening. And yeah, no, he's just awful. And also, not that appearances really mean anything, but if you cast Bill Maher as a serial sexual predator and child molester in a movie, I would say that's really lazy casting. You're just going for stereotypes. That guy looks like a lazy stereotype of a sex offender. No getting around that. Safa, why did Trump give money to the Democrats in the 90s? He wanted to be close to power. He used to pal around with the Clintons all the time. It is also not uncommon in business or even in just public life generally in the US to give money to both major parties, and in Australia too, for that matter. It isn't that uncommon to donate to the campaigns of both major parties. I like that. Bill Maher's the sort of rich shitbag who'd use hand sanitizer after shaking your hand. I guess, look, there's no mistaking Trump's racist, and he was raised racist, and he's always been racist. I mean, his dad was in the fucking Klan. His dad was arrested at a Klan rally. Trump was raised with racist ideas. He's always been racist, and he's still racist to this day. Whether it's to black people, Hispanic, migrants, asylum seekers, he's fucking racist to his core, and it's absolutely fucking ridiculous to suggest he's not. Byron, like that, the idea that in isolation, Maher occasionally makes a valid point, maybe every few years. That's like the old saying about a stopped clock is right, even a stopped clock is right twice a day, which I've always liked as a saying, and I always like to throw on the end, and it's still useless. Safa, that's a big question. Are bigots curable? Probably depends what you call a bigot, and probably depends what you call cured. I think many, many, many people change. Some people are very insular and bigoted in their outlook, and usually through exposure and travel, that often, though not always, helps make people less prejudiced if they actually travel and meet people, because most bigotry comes from ignorance. Most of it comes from fear of the unknown, fear of the different. And if they actually get more exposure to different people and different cultures, it often has a very positive effect. I mean, some people get worse. Some people just get worse, but some people get better. Luke, have you got cans of rums, or was it rum and cola at your place? There's a CrossFit at the Dollop podcast. Did a great episode on Trump and his father. Oh man, that would be interesting. I don't listen to many. I basically listen to one podcast, and every now and then I try and listen to another one. But I haven't. I've only found one podcast I actually like, and that's the Blind Boy podcast. Comes out every Wednesday, so it comes out tomorrow. Looking forward to that. I was quite a fan of that. Justin, that's an interesting point you raised, saying when Hitler took power, a Jewish newspaper told everyone to calm down, that he could be controlled. There are an enormous number of contemporary news reports around the rise of Hitler that says things like, no, Hitler's calmed down. He spent time in jail. He learned his lesson. Oh, yeah, he says outrageous stuff at rallies, but that's just catering to the mob. He won't actually do any of that stuff in government. He's just doing that to appeal to the mobs. He's completely reasonable. And the media continued to excuse his behavior and his brown shirts behavior up to and including when they were murdering people. So when I see the media today making excuses for Trump, that's another parallel that I think is really unsettling. Hey, Mike, how's it going? Agro, I did listen to a short Chuck Tingle podcast, and he did not sound anything like I thought he would. And I think that's what we'd said in the chat. You were telling me he won't sound like it. There's this very weird thing there. Oh no, son John's downstairs. He doesn't want me to drink chocolate milk because I get all hepped up on chocolate milk. Oh no. It was like a Christmas podcast, I think. But I will try and listen to another Chuck Tingle podcast, because the one I listened to wasn't actually a Tingler. Like, I actually want to either read or listen to one of his stories, pounded in the butt by my high-ranking podcast type of thing. Chronic, I admire your certainty that Trump's getting voted out in 2020. Good luck with that. Mike, I'm okay. You're having a bit of a wind down before sleep? And this is my wind down before sleep. We've got about an hour to go. Let's see, I was talking before, might make a cocktail at the halfway mark. So there was that Lucian Garden that the page just fell open on. I might make that. There's lots of these I don't have. I have a syncopation. I think I've made this before. A syncopation has brandy, which I have, Calvados, which is a French apple brandy, which I also have, which I actually bought Calvados just because it's in this a lot, Cointreau, lemon juice, and bitters. I could make that. I have that. I think I made this one on the weekend, the Remember the Main. Yes. I think I just made one cocktail on Saturday or Friday. I don't remember. Remember the Main is rye whiskey, vermouth, cherry, hearing, and absinthe. Tiny bit of absinthe. But here's a little family of ones that I like. There's apparently an Art Deco inspired thing with the 20th century, which is gin, lemon juice, Lillet Blanc, and white creme de cacao. Lillet Blanc's like a white wine, I think. But then there's variations. The 21st century, which is white tequila, which I have, lemon juice, white creme de cacao, and absinthe. I could make a 21st century. Oh, there's the 30th century man, which is Scotch whiskey, lemon juice, white creme de cacao, Cointreau, and absinthe. I like to make that call it a 21st century schizoid man. So are cocktails cheaper than wine or beer? Cocktails require greater investment than wine or beer, but in terms of bang for buck, like how pissed you get for the money, I think cocktails probably work out better than wine. But because you can buy quite cheap bottles of wine, you know, like the individual bottles of spirits cost $30, $40, $50. So you have to invest more, but I think ultimately, you know, you maybe save money. Byron, like, okay, that's interesting. Trump had charisma and a gift for rallies, and yeah, that's right. But you say Trump's trash. Look at Trump's rallies. He's got throngs of screaming, adoring fans. You and I might think Trump is trash, but there are a frightening large group of people who think he's awesome. And Chronic, I don't necessarily think Trump is going to get re-elected, but the world has gone so strange. I refuse to try and predict what's going to happen. Oh God, Trump is here. I hope Mark Latham doesn't get elected simply because he doesn't deserve to have a cushy income from the government, and also because he's fucking garbage piece of shit. Oh, Justin, I've heard of that. A German movie called Guess Who's Back. It's kind of like Borat, but it's got Hitler and gets really creepy. Yes, I have heard of that. But yeah, I don't know if you can sort of legally easily watch it here. Chronic, I kind of think you're right. I think it's fair to say Trump is probably the most hated and mocked person in the world. But with that hardcore supporters of his, there's absolute adoration. And there's, what's the population of the US? It's over 100 million people who fucking drool over Trump and worship him. It's absolutely terrifying. That's where you forget when populations are so bad. You go, well, only 5% of people believe that. But then you work out 5% is fucking tens of millions of people, which is absolutely terrifying. Yeah, see, nobody, I reckon you've hit the nail on the head. Anything that goes bad for Trump will be treated as a conspiracy by his creepy followers. And I've said this before. If and when Trump goes, no matter what the circumstances, his diehard supporters are frighteningly unpredictable. And they don't know what's going to happen. Like if he ends up being impeached and goes to trial, gets jailed, his supporters will go apeshit and say it's a conspiracy to get him. If he drops dead, because he's old, unfit, and under a lot of stress, him dropping dead is completely plausible. If he drops dead, they'll lose their tiny little fucking minds and say the deep state poisoned him. If he's still around at the next election and loses, they'll claim that's a conspiracy and fuck knows what they'll do. And even if he goes to 2 terms and then his second term's over, his insane supporters will still try and say he should stay on as president. Trump is Hitler. Pauline Hanson has gone to prison for electoral fraud. She has actually done jail time for electoral fraud. That's a fun thing, isn't it? And it was John Howard who actually made sure she went to jail. That's a bit of fun. Trying to decide what cocktail I'll make. This is a weird one. Milk punch. Brandy, rum, simple syrup, and milk. I have not tried that. I don't know. That's a bit of a worry, that one. Some of these have really weird ingredients that I don't have. But that's a simple one. A Supreme. I have Applejack, which is Applejack is like the American version of Calvados. Applejack is an American apple brandy, which tends to be made from sweet apples, and the French apple brandy Calvados tends to be made from tart apples. Safa, I have not played the Clive Palmer game. I refuse to spend any time indulging anything to do with that vile piece of shit. Oh yeah, Mike. If you're unlucky enough to know supporters or be related to supporters, it makes no sense. The fake news thing, that everything's denial, everything's conspiracy. It's absolutely terrifying the degree to which these people reject simple facts. It's absolutely terrifying. I like, you hate everyone, Trump is Hitler. That's a nice spread of people you hate. That's very even-handed stuff. AS Chronic, the mixed drink Applejack may well be apple cider with Jack Daniels, but there's an actual apple brandy made in the US known as Applejack, which is slightly different. Oh, Byron, there are absolutely websites where you punch in what cocktail ingredients you have and they tell you what you make. There are absolutely websites you just go and you say, I have this, this, and this. What can I make? Which can be quite a bit of fun, actually. I tend to go the opposite way. I look up cocktail recipes and decide if I want to buy the ingredients to make it. So, I mean, you know, there's so many to choose from here. I like this one, The Journalist. This one will get you pissed. It's gin, dry vermouth, sweet vermouth, lemon juice, curacao, and bitters. Yes. What does the Prince of Wales have? This Prince of Wales, that's rye whiskey, simple syrup, cherry liqueur, chunk of pineapple bitters, and chilled champagne. That's very royal family, isn't it? Some chilled champagne. Look, how are my cats? My cats are fine. Don't know where Mimsy is. She'll come in sometimes. Oh. What's a Dixie cocktail? Bourbon, simple syrup, curacao, bitters, creme de menthe. I don't have any creme de menthe. Can't make that. Don't have any mint liqueurs. I understand if you're tired and need to go to bed. Thank you for dropping by, though. What are these? Oh, yeah, these are the old classics. Daiquiris, old-fashioned, Manhattan, martinis. Really, a Negroni. I really don't like Negronis, actually. They're kind of trendy at the moment. Really don't like them. Tequila and mezcal, because I have some mezcal. For those who don't know, mezcal is like tequila's smokier cousin. Like, I'm not joking. The mezcal, I have you smell it. I don't know how they get this much smokiness into a drink. It smells like an ashtray, which is initially off-putting, particularly when you're not a smoker, as I am not a smoker. But mixed with certain things, it's quite an amazing flavor. We got Cosmopolitan. A Clint Eastwood. What's a Clint Eastwood? Rye whiskey, green chartreuse. I don't have chartreuse. I could substitute it. I could substitute absinthe for chartreuse. Yeah, Charlie, I have. There's worms in my mezcal. 2 worms. I'm saving them. I think I'm going to make AIDSy eat them one day. No, Trump is Hitler. You think intoxication leads to toxic masculinity. No, if someone does something bad when they're intoxicated, it's what they wanted to do anyway. Alcohol doesn't make you do anything. It's a disinhibitor that maybe makes you more likely to do something you wanted to do anyway. More variations on my. Oh, this is okay. Now this is one that really surprised me. I didn't make this once. You see, anyone who knows bitters, you normally only put a couple of dashes of bitters in a drink because bitters are usually a very strong flavor, and And as the mixologists say, bitters are to cocktails as herbs and spices are to cooking. Not the main feature, but they create a flavor in it. This one, the Trinidad Sour, instead of a couple of dashes of bitters, it's 1.5 ounces of Angostura bitters. That's like one and a half shots of bitters, and then 1 ounce of this simple syrup, 3/4 ounce lemon juice, 1/2 ounce of rye whiskey. And I've actually made that, and it's okay. I think I used slightly less bitters than that. I think I maybe used 1 ounce rather than 1.5 ounces of Angostura bitters. But yeah, that's a wild one. I think I've made this one, and just because I love the name of it, there's a cocktail here called an Alabazam, which is brandy, Cointreau, simple syrup, lemon juice, and bitters. And that's basically my favorite cocktail, a sidecar with bitters added. Because a sidecar is basically brandy, Cointreau, simple syrup, and lemon juice. So this is with a decent whack, not a couple of dashes, this is like a teaspoon of bitters. So that's a decent whack of bitters in there. I love the names of them. This one's called Penicillin, the Penicillin cocktail, which is 2 ounces of scotch, which is a lot. Lemon juice, syrup, ginger, and then some more scotch. So it's 2 ounces of blended Scotch whiskey, the cheaper stuff, then 1/4 ounce of Islay single malt Scotch whiskey. Safa, where's Mimdi? I am not completely sure, honestly. She may show her face, who knows? Now, this is an awesome name for a drink, a breakfast martini. It's one we can have for breakfast. It's gin, lemon juice, Cointreau, and marmalade. They say orange marmalade. The marmalade makes it breakfast, I guess, but very disturbing concept that you actually would be having that for breakfast. I'll just start the day with a breakfast martini. Here's this is one I made on the weekend with my mezcal. The Division Bell. Again, sometimes I just like the name of a cocktail, but a Division Bell is mezcal, lime juice, Aperol, and cherry liqueur. And that was pretty good. And a slight variation they call Naked and Famous is mezcal, lime juice, Aperol, and yellow chartreuse. Again, I could substitute chartreuse for substitute absinthe for chartreuse. But I don't have chartreuse, but I do have absinthe. Chronic, have I ever had an Irish coffee to start the day? No. A, I don't drink coffee, but B, I don't think I've ever had booze to start a day. I mean, AD and I got tempted once. We saw this place that was advertising bottomless mimosas for brunch, and we were going to go, challenge accepted. And mimosas is just champagne and orange juice. But we were going to go and make a video and go, no, we are just going to keep drinking and keep asking for more mimosas and see when they cut us off, basically. But yeah, that would have been me. I mean, the tiki ones. The classic tiki one is the zombie. I don't know if you've ever heard of a zombie, but a zombie cocktail normally has multiple different sorts of rum in it. This one, they recommend it's got 1.5 ounce dark Jamaican rum, 1.5 ounce white rum, 1 ounce 151 proof Demerara rum, 1/2 ounce of Falernum, which is another sort of rum, 1/2 ounce Don's mix, which is a non-alcoholic flavored mix, 3/4 ounce lime juice, dash of Angostura bitters, 6 drops of Pernod or absinthe, 2 tablespoons or teaspoons of grenadine, and ice. So that's a tall glass with 1, 2, 3, about 4 shots of rum in it. Oh yeah, AngryPixie, a good zombie is a good drink, actually. And there's always a bit of variation. That's fairly full on 4 different sorts of rum, but a zombie is usually multiple sorts of rum in it. So what's the fastest time I've made a cocktail in? I don't time myself. So I'm not sure the answer to that. AngryPixie, starting Christmas with drinking is okay. Your dad cracked one open. The Louis is bourbon, Campari, pineapple juice, lime juice, and simple syrup and saline solution. Tell you what, was the one? Yeah, I'm going to make a Lucian Garden because I don't think I've ever made one. This is one I found when I first flipped the book open. Justin, what's the earliest ever? Look, I have probably had, not probably, I would have had drinks before noon. And I've had drinks at lunch a lot. But yeah, I've definitely had drinks. Luke, okay, tell you what, 20 questions, Luke. I'm going to finish my cocktail. I'm going to make a Lucian Garden. And when I'm armed with my cocktail, I am going to, we'll do a 20 questions because I've got the 20 questions machine here. So it's here and it's working. So we'll do a 20 questions. You know, we have to decide animal, vegetable, mineral, other. I've been disappointed in this one. I don't know why, but I've been disappointed in this one before. But we'll do it. Just for you, Luke. PBR, you like a Long Island iced tea? I don't mind Long Island iced tea. I can't drink a Long Island iced tea without channeling Marge Simpson. I tell you how you're going. Thanks for dropping by, dude. Channeling Marge Simpson when she discovered her alcoholism when she was given a Long Island iced tea for the first time, and because it's in a very tall glass, which is a traditional way to serve it. And after she goes, they should call this a large island iced tea. And she goes, no, Long Island iced tea is better. Okay, down goes the Pepsi. All right, so I actually don't have ingredients or gear ready. Oh, look, you want me to do the Marge, they should call this a large island iced tea. That's like the worst Marge Simpson impersonation ever. I do not do impressions or accents. AZ does. AZ is amazing at accents. He is absolutely amazing at accents. I am not. But, all right, I've got to get the gear. Oh, the old knees. Oh, my gear and this. And a nice glass to drink it out of. Okay, got my nice glass. My cocktail. Oh, Jesus, that didn't sound good, did it? I better check what that was. It was just the other cocktail shaker. No drama. And I'll want this. Low glassware up there. I was worried for a second. All right. So that's all the ingredients. And I need some ice. Oh, God, what's in it again? It's Campari, Cointreau, gin, vermouth. Okay. Get some ice. Pre-chill this. Drop some ice, that's okay. It's here. Okay. We have Cointreau. Aperol, I'll substitute for Campari. Oh, what was it? Gin and vermouth. I've got this special vermouth that I'm going to use. Tanqueray gin. Where's my special vermouth? I've got this special vermouth that's infused with absinthe flavors. So it's very herby, but is really nice. English. I won't slip on that. How's AZ? Everyone wants to know how AZ is. I don't know. hopefully he's okay. I haven't talked to him for a little while. You're making me feel guilty, and I should talk to him again. Okay, so we are going the measures 1 and then half and half and half. Okay, so one of these. Bom, bom, bom. Put that in there. I'm going to do some half measures of the others. So I've got Aperol, not Campari. Campari is a bit stronger, as in more bitter than Aperol, but they're both Italian bitter aperitifs. Aperol is plenty bitter enough for me. So we put in some Aperol. Put the lid on so I don't spill any. See, Audie's been infused with many things. Some Cointreau. Half measure of Cointreau. Cointreau. Okay. Sounds like I've already been drinking, doesn't it? Okay. And the vermouth à la absinthe. That's my own little twist on it. So it makes it no, I've poured too much of that. Good job. Good job. A little bit of cleanup on aisle 3. I'll just look after. I'll put this away. I have a little cloth here. Put that out of the way. There's a cloth here. Didn't make a big mess, made a small mess. Une petite mess. I can clear that up. Okay. So that's all the ingredients. That's all that's in it. All right. Now, they say to stir, not shake. But I'm going to shake. To purists, apparently there's quite a difference in what it does to a cocktail, shaking or stirring. So the old James Bond line about martinis being shaken, not stirred. No, that's so uncool. And that's how, I don't even drink martinis, but that's how serious martini people know you're a rube if you get suckered in by that James Bond thing and do shaken, not stirred. I'll tell you one thing about this cocktail. It is a very pretty color. And that's from the Aperol. Look at that. It doesn't look as good on camera, but it's a really nice orange. Kind of looks brown on there. Oh, that's good. That's just like a good cocktail goes through multiple flavors. I mean, this isn't gonna go down as my favorite, but you're getting all the flavors in here. So yeah, I mean, because the bitterness of the Aperol is really noticeable. But then you've got the orange flavor from the Cointreau. And probably the last taste is this, the herby stuff from the absinthe-infused vermouth. So how much do cocktail shakers cost? They're pretty cheap. Go to like a bottle shop, like, you know, even Dan Murphy's has little cocktail maker kits. You know, probably like 15. You know, how much is a piece of string? You could spend $15 on a cocktail shaker, or you could spend $200 on a cocktail set. And this rather beautiful glass, which I'm going to see. You see, it's etched. This. I don't know if you can. You might, maybe when it's finished, you might be able to see the etching. But it's etched glass, and I've got a matching pair. So Mrs. Angry and I can have cocktails together in matching glasses. Not saying I stole it from a venue, but I stole it from a venue. No. Oh, yeah. Yeah, like I said, that's not going to go down as my all-time favorite, but it's a good cocktail in that it has all these different flavors. Okay, we're going to do 20 questions. Well, that's why I was holding out. I am metaphorically sharing my cocktail with you, my nice orange cocktail. Oh, no, that is quite good. Okay, so the first thing we have to decide for our thing is, do we want it to be animal, vegetable, or mineral, or other? So what, this is like a generic thing. It doesn't do people, we want generic things. What do we want the 20 questions machine to try and guess? Anything, animal, vegetable, mineral, or other. Yes, not people. It doesn't get people. So we've got to do animal. I've got cherry liqueur, Ganymede. What planet is that a moon of? Is that one of Jupiter's moons? I know it's a moon. I kind of think, it is moon of Jupiter. Okay, that's, it might guess that. I don't know if it will, but it might. Any other votes for what we should actually have for you? Ooh, any animal, but yes, you have to be precise. Throw in a particular animal. That's one of its specialties, finding animals. I'm just saying little slips and getting a focus. Like I was saying about the one podcast I listened to, the Blind Boy podcast. He's Irish. He talks about how he likes cocktails. He regards it as a very mindful sort of drinking, because you don't, as a rule, just knock cocktails back like you do a beer or something, beer or a cider. Not least because if you're buying them, you're normally paying quite a bit of money for them. So you then take little sips and really experience the flavors. Now, of course, I didn't pay money now for this. I've already bought all the spirits for that. So it's not money that's really compelling into it, but it's just enjoying the experience. Like the reason I went to the trouble of mixing this drink was to enjoy the experience of what those flavors are. And I think this is the first time I've made this one. You have to be a fan of a bitter drink to like this. But it's not bad at all. It's a very interesting flavor. So, did everyone just leave the chat? I feel like everyone just disappeared from the chat. I'm not seeing any sort of feedback in chat. And I'll look, Rhino is a bit obvious, isn't it? I mean, we could do Rhino. Actually, you're the one who wanted to do 20 questions. Can you come up with something a little bit challenging? It can be an animal, but maybe a slightly more obscure animal than a rhino. The traditional categories for 20 questions are animal, vegetable, or mineral, or other. It can be something other. Xenomorph. You mean like the actual Megaleech, the actual xenomorphs from the Alien movies? That might be a bit abstract. It doesn't do fictional. Actually, it probably does do fictional things like unicorns or minotaurs or whatever. Xenomorph might be a bit obscure. I don't know. Yeah, look, I don't know what's happened with the chat. Chat's gone dead quiet. People have disappeared. I don't know. Were they scared off by my rampant alcoholism? That could be it. They're a bunch of Puritans. That's the whole problem. A bunch of Puritan teetotalers. Yeah, it was basically just water I added to the drink then. Now we're throwing in. Oh, a tardigrade. Oh, Megaleech, I really like a tardigrade. There are a few good ones now. Mr. A9 and Onyx. Chronica Tasmania. I think a tardigrade would be a good one. And I probably just think that because I've been watching Star Trek Star Trek Discovery. They had a giant space tardigrade that was powering their spore drive. But for those who don't know, a tardigrade is a microscopic creature that looks super fucking weird and can survive almost anything. Can survive lava and acid and all these things. No, I'm going to go with a tardigrade. That's great. We're going to call it an animal. Tardigrades are fascinating. So first we're saying, yes, it's an animal. So question 2 is it a carnivore? I'm going to say no. I honestly don't know what a tardigrade eats, but I think it's too small to eat anything that could be described as meat. Oh yeah, that's the other name for it, megaleech, water bear. Don't know why they came up with water bear. But for the question, is it a carnivore? I'm going to say Toronto Maple Leaf. Hello, we're just doing 20 questions, man. We're trying to see if it can guess tardigrade. That's great. No, it's not a carnivore. What I'm going to say. Question 3 is, can you play with it? Sadly, no, because they're microscopic. They had the giant space tardigrade in Star Trek, but we're not in Star Trek. So the answer to can we play with it is no. Just sad because they're fascinating creatures. Are there many different sorts of it? Okay, I think the answer is yes, but I'm also going to defer. I think megaleech is on what do we call it? Google, by the looks of that. You're saying tardigrades are prevalent in mosses and lichens, feed on plant cells, algae, and small invertebrates. Are there different sorts of them? I suspect the answer is yes. Oh, there you go. 1,150 known species. So the answer is yes. I knew you'd have an answer there. Okay, you're on the wiki. Okay. Would you find it on a farm? I think the answer is yes. You find tardigrades basically everywhere. Toronto Maple, I've been fine, thank you. And it's a welcome interruption for a brief hello and how we're being. How are you being? It's not a farm animal, but that's not the question. Is would you find it on a farm? And basically, I think you find tardigrades everywhere. That's one of their things. Can it affect you? Ooh, megaleech, what do you think is the right answer to that? Oh, sorry, this is my cocktail, but can a tardigrade affect you? As in, can a tardigrade affect humans? I think the answer is no, but because megaleech is on the wiki, yeah, I think we agree. The answer is no. Tardigrades don't affect humans. Okay, question 7. Does it live in groups? I think the short answer is yes, because tardigrades are everywhere. It's not so much that they're a herd, so it's just the tardigrades are everywhere. So we're not saying it's a herd animal, but the question is, does it live in groups? Which I think the answer is yes. Yes, megaleech is yes. Toronto Maple Leaf here. Oh, you minus 50 to 15C in 3 days. That's wild. Yeah, we went from 40 to 15 in 40 Celsius to 15 Celsius in 1 day. PBR, what, the tardigrade is a good name for a cocktail? I could try and come up with a cocktail called the tardigrade, actually. Does it have wings? Pretty sure that's a no. Tardigrades have multiple legs and a weird toothy mouth. I'm pretty sure there are no tardigrades with wings, though. PBR, you raise a good question. What would be in a tardigrade cocktail? To affect the spirit of the tardigrade, but it's just as these, that eliminates a lot of possibilities. Yes, Alex. Toronto Maple Leaf. We didn't really get a storm. North Queensland populated areas of North Queensland are getting the heaviest rain on record. Major flooding. Is it a wild animal? That's a good question. It's not domestic. See, if this question is it a domestic animal, it would be no. Do we think a tardigrade qualifies as a wild animal? Yes, we're going to say yes because it's not domestic. Oh, Safa, 8 legs. Yeah, well, we've got, if we're going to have a tardigrade cocktail, it has to be the spread, maybe 8 ingredients, which is a lot for a cocktail. Maybe some bitters. It's got to be something that, you know, could survive anywhere. We have to put some thought into what a tardigrade cocktail would be. Question 10 is, does it weigh more than a, no, it doesn't. Does it weigh more than a duck? No matter what it said, the answer was going to be no. Like, does it weigh more than a 1-cent coin? No. So now it knows it's small. Oh yeah, no, Toronto Maple Leaf, we're having the hottest January on record, record rain and flooding in the north, bushfires everywhere. It's just wild. Okay, does it live above ground? Yes, it also lives below ground, but it does live above ground. Not exclusively, but it does live above ground. Is it smaller? Yes, it's smaller than whatever you say. Is it smaller than a golf ball? Yes. Unless they said, is it smaller than an amoeba? It was going to be yes. Does it live in the jungle? Yes, it lives everywhere. I think we established tardigrades live basically everywhere. Oh, Chronic, the polar vortex is rough. The polar vortex, that was insane, the stuff I heard about that. The next question, can you find it in a house? Again, slightly referring to megaleech, I think the answer would be yes. There would be tardigrades in a house. It would be funny, megaleech, if the question came up, is it smaller than a tardigrade? I would get a bit of a giggle out of that if it used the tardigrade as a reference. But I'm pretty sure the answer, mosses, lichens, plant cells, vertebrates, I think, would you find it in a house is like, yes, if you had a microscope. Because they're basically everywhere. There basically aren't many places you don't find a tardigrade. That's the nature of them. So we're going to say yes, you can find, really? Yes, really. Really. So much for that idea. It just throws these random things as if it's thinking. The children make believe it's so cold there. It's great snow and ice up the inside of the window and make a snow cone. Wow, on the inside. And the cold cracked the window. Damn. Okay, does it eat leaves? I think you just put mosses and lichens feed on plant cells. Leaves are plant cells. I think the answer would be yes, like they microscopic, so they don't eat a whole leaf, but they eat plant cells. This is one I'm not 100% sure what to say. Do tardigrades eat leaves? I think they munch on leaves, but on the microscopic level, so they're actually just eating cells. Yeah, Toronto Maple Leaf, I agree. I think the answer is technically yes. They don't eat leaves like they don't eat leaves. Oh, there is a maybe option, actually, Megaleech. Maybe we'll go maybe. Is it a herbivore? Ah, now, Megaleech, your thing is they eat small invertebrates, so it's not a herbivore. Okay, we're getting nearer. This is question 17. Is it bad for your health? No, I don't think tardigrades do anything negative to human health. Is it smooth? Is a tardigrade smooth? I would go with no. I've seen the pictures of a tardigrade. I'll go for consensus on, is a tardigrade smooth? I think no. But they're all wrinkly. Yeah, Megaleech. Megaleech is on the WikiLeaks. You're on WikiLeaks. No, the Wikipedia. The wiki for tardigrades. So we're going to say no, tardigrades are not smooth. You've been hit by a smooth criminal. Yes. Survey said, it's going to take a guess before question 20. It's a fire ant. No. No. That was an interesting guess, though. It guessed that it's a fire ant, and the answer is no, obviously. Ah, it hasn't gone small enough. It hasn't gone microscopic. Oh, I like that PBR. Male tardigrades are smooth with the lady tardigrades. Now it's just saying a bug. No. So that's actually its 20 questions. But now it'll ask a couple more before giving up. Is it colorful? No, they're kind of gray and microscopic. Does it go inside other things? I'm going to go yes. It does go inside other things because it's microscopic. Definitely goes inside other things. Does it come in different colors? Oh, probably. That's the thing I don't know. Megaleech, do tardigrades come in different colors? My guess would be yes, but that would be a guess. I mean, you know, microscopic photos, they always look gray. Megaleech, you think maybe to no? I'm going to say maybe because I'm not sure. Okay, question 24 is trying again. It's going to make another guess. Oh no, it's asking another question. Okay, does it come in different colors? Maybe. Do-over. Try. It doesn't like that question. It wants it to be yes or no. All right, I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no. 24, that was apparently important to it. Is it a specific color? Ah. Are we going to say yes to it being a specific color, like gray? Because all the photos I've seen of it, it's gray. And I don't know if that's just a product of the microscopic photography or whatnot. Now it's asking, is it a specific color? If we try to say yeah, like it's gray, dark gray. Megaleech, you reckon no? No to a specific color. Okay. Oh, there's a see. That's they're false color photos. Yeah, that's why I didn't know if it was a product of the microscopic photography. Okay, I'm going to say no to a specific. This is its last chance. It'll go to 25 questions, and it's going to do its last guess now. I think it's going to guess again. It's it was closer. It now knows it's in the microscopic world. It's guessed a virus. No, you didn't get it. How human of me. It didn't get, but it got to virus. It got to virus because it kind of twigged we were talking about something microscopic. So it was getting closer. I think if it could have kept going, I don't know if tardigrade was going to be in its memory, but I feel like it was getting closer in there. So there you go. It doesn't know tardigrades. Well, see, Toronto Maple Leaf, this 20 questions kind of shit. Like the big flying saucer one I used to have, it was really cool and was spookily good at getting answers. This one, not so much. So who knows? I don't know what the database in this thing is like, but I spent quite a bit of time trying to find one of these, and I found one after looking in lots of shops, and I've been quite disappointed by it, honestly. Possibly just because I have such fond memories of the flying saucer one. And you're right, it was creepy as fuck, because we used to, when we did that one, sometimes you could tell from the questions it was asking, it was actually going to get it, like it was getting closer and closer, and you go, oh no, it has actually worked it out, and it would get it and go, but sometimes the questions it was asking seemed to be completely unrelated to what we were actually wanting it to guess. And we were all like, nah, not going to get it. and then it would get it, and we'd all be confused, and we'd think it had the devil in it. And I was very disappointed to find, because I did actually take it with us when we moved. Like, I moved nearly 2 years ago, and I did pack it up and move, and I took it out a while ago to see if it was working, and it wasn't, and I was super disappointed. And I certainly haven't found another one of those. It was hard enough to find this one. Still have a Simpsons 20 questions donut somewhere. I don't know where that is. That's in a box somewhere. If I find that and it's working, I'll bring that, because that's, of course, that's just classic Simpsons, like of the first dozen or so seasons. So, you know, the good Simpsons. What's up, Glitch? Tardigrades are protostomes. Dude, the currently accepted term is sex worker, okay? We don't like that. That's an outdated term. And if tardigrades choose to be sex workers and they work in a non-exploitative workplace, good on them, I say. Toronto Maple Leafer, do I still have Wolf Creek? Yes, Arthur, the saucer one, it just stopped working. I was really disappointed, because I did bring it with me and I tried it and it just wasn't working. I was really disappointed. I was sad, in fact. That's the other thing. My how did I used to do the DVD quiz? I used to get like a couple of my DVDs and just give hints and see who could guess what DVD I'd picked up. Jojo Maple Leafer, the batteries may have leaked and created the terminals. But see what, okay, for those who don't know what we're talking about, it was quite a big thing. And you know, you get those LED things that, you know, so they spin around and the LEDs are flashing really fast to make words. That's how this worked. A thing spun around really fast inside this flying saucer dome, and the LED flashed and made words, and it was really cool. The LED was still turning around, but it wasn't lighting up. So it spun around, but it didn't light up, like, so it couldn't see words. So I think, should we do throwbacks? Throwbacks for the old school viewers. Because it'll take me 2 seconds to grab a couple of DVDs, and a running joke was that you always had to guess Wolf Creek, and I do actually own Wolf Creek on DVD. Should we do a throwback? I'll run out there and grab a couple DVDs and give obscure hints and see who can guess them. It's a thing we used to do all the time. It's like old school live streams, the DVD game, and 20 questions. It would always that was on a platform that doesn't even exist anymore, Blog TV. I have to decide if I want to try Twitch at some point. I have a Twitch account, and I'm never completely sure. I don't know, why was Wolf Creek a thing? I don't know. It just became a running joke that when I said what DVDs, that someone would always say Wolf Creek. And it was just an in joke that, you know, someone always had to guess Wolf Creek. Yeah, I quite enjoyed Blog TV, but I've not got into Twitch yet, and I don't know if I should try. Like, maybe I could, because Twitch is gaming, but I think you can do more than that. But maybe I could go on and do the trivia stuff. Like, I've got the Harry Potter trivia, the Star Wars Family Feud, and the 20 questions. Justin, when did I start live streams? Jesus, when was Blog TV around? Was it 10 years ago? Yeah, that's Toronto. That's right. You now bought Blog TV, and it went to shit after. So I stopped live streaming for ages. Then finally YouTube made it easy to live stream on YouTube. And so I live stream on YouTube now. All right, maybe I should try Twitch one time. I think I was doing, I don't know, I was doing live streams like 10 years ago. So maybe longer than that. But I think I was doing live streams like 10 years ago. Yeah, and I did it for a couple of years. And yeah, then YouNow bought Blog TV and it was shit and I gave up. And I'd never found another live streaming platform that I liked. But yeah, finally YouTube made live streaming comparatively easy. So doing YouTube. But everyone's on Twitch these days. Maybe I should try Twitch. So I could do a live stream on Twitch, but like put a little notification video up on YouTube. Mimsy's being told to make an appearance. Are you going to come up here? You come up here? I don't know. Oh, you looked it up, Toronto Maple Leaf. It got bought out in 2013. Yeah, and I never found another live platform like. Though some people I know from the old days, because YouNow is still around, if I remember rightly. There are some people I know who still do YouNow live streams. Yeah, there you are, Are you going to come up? Yes, no, up here. Come up here. You want to get scratched, you have to come up here and say hello to the people. Oh, good evening, Miss Foxification. Yes, Charlie, you're just in time to see, you know, Mimsy's not quite making an appearance. Yeah, maybe I should try Twitch, because I could put an announcement video on YouTube that says, hey, I'm on Twitch, go and check out it. Because that's what I used to do for Blog TV. I would put an announcement video on YouTube that said I was on Blog TV, and that kind of worked. So, yeah, maybe I could do that. She wants some attention. Yes, Mimsy likes attention. Yes, she does. Yes, she does. Yes, Mimsy wants coin. I have wares if you have coin. Luke, I did try Periscope. I don't even know if Periscope is still around. And I've tried live streaming on Facebook as well. I don't really like it. I just kind of stuck with YouTube. I like that PBR. There's a Monica Lewinsky TED Talk scheduled to be up next for you. That's something to look forward to. Okay, Toronto Maple. Look, maybe I will try Twitch. I was just always a bit confused by it. I'll go on Twitch and see where. She doesn't really purr. Are you purring now? She's purring a little bit now. Yeah, no, buddy. Like I said, I tried live streaming on Facebook, and yeah, I wasn't really there. Yeah, we want some cat ASMR. I could do that. I could get my my Zoom record. I could make a video with Mimsy and make Mimsy ASMR. Oh my god, and do a loop. Like do a 10-hour loop of Mimsy purring. I should do that. Record Mimsy purring and do a 10-hour loop of it. She's purring like when I go right up close to her, I could hear her purring. Yeah, you can put 10-hour videos on YouTube, and if I got a little bit of her purring and just looped it and looped it and looped it and looped it, could run it for 10 hours. That would be wild. I like that idea, Megaleech. 2 minutes of Mimsy purring, then 5 hours of fart noises. Okay. So, Maple, if you're saying it was gaming until recently on Twitch, but now you know people who do cooking, tabletop games, live on location. Look, maybe I'll give it a go. Because people can just get to it through a web browser. I don't think you have to have an account on Twitch to watch. Oh, yeah, misfoxification. I'm so glad they're killing Google Plus. I was so pissed off at Google when they forced you to connect a Google Plus account to a YouTube account, like you didn't have an option. I was so fucking pissed off at them. And also because I'm an admin on a couple of Facebook groups for YouTubers, and of course I've had chats with people from Google YouTube about what we're doing with the community groups, and this was years ago when they were still kind of trying to make Google Plus a thing, and by years I mean 3, 4, 5 years ago. Someone from Google YouTube said, "Oh, could you replicate your Facebook group on Google Plus? Like, we'd really like, because it's YouTube, and we'd really like it if you had the activity on Google Plus rather than Facebook." I went, "Yeah, I'll give it a go," and try to set up a group on Google Plus, and it was lacking a whole bunch of basic features that Facebook had. And we messaged them and said, "Oh, set up the group like you asked, but we don't, how do you do this, this, and this?" And he goes, "Oh, you can't do any of those things." It's going, why the fuck would we move the group from Facebook to Google Plus and then lose a shit ton of functionality? And now they're killing it. So we definitely shouldn't have done it. But Jesus, occasionally people at YouTube and Google can be complete fuckheads. I've had incidents in the past when I was doing something and was trying to get them to help. And not only did they not help at all, it got to the stage where some of these people were being actively obstructive to what I was doing, which was really frustrating. Other times, they had people be super supportive and super helpful, but then those people go away. And I've had people graduate from being not helpful to being actively obstructive, and it's so fucking frustrating. I'd prefer to be ignored than to be obstructed, but yeah, sometimes the people there can be complete shitheads. A lot of the time they're really good, but just occasionally it's like, what the fuck are you doing? And it's, it's a huge multi-billion-dollar company. Why would they give a shit about me? It doesn't make any sense for them to give a shit about me. But yeah, for them to actually be like fucking me around and trying to damage what I was doing was really fucking pissed me off. What are you doing, you weird cat? Now you're on the fridge. Come back on your perch. Come on, come here. Do not knock over my bottles, cat. Seriously. Wow. Yeah, see? Come back here and I'll give you attention. The attention you crave, you weird cat. She's a very weird cat. But yes, they're finally killing Google Plus. They've tried and failed so many times. I mean, bloody hell, Facebook should have gone away by now. I mean, there were different. There was Friendster, there was MySpace, and yeah, they went away. The idea that Facebook is still hanging around is creepy. It's supposed to go away after a while, but now it's just stalking us. Facebook is like a big old stalker. Misclassification. I think we can say Google Plus failed because they're killing it. Well, that's the funny thing. The one they tried before Google Plus was Orkut, O-R-K-U-T. Whether they invented that or bought that, that was a social media platform, and it failed really badly. But apparently in South America, it was very big. It was very big. And that kept it alive for quite a few years because it had a huge user base in South America. She's doing that head nod thing, which might be cat senility or like, you know, cat Parkinson's. But I like to think she's listening to music and just going, yeah, yeah, yeah. She might be reading the live chat PDR. I think when her head starts nodding like that, she's thinking of going to sleep, basically. Well, you looked up some stats, misfoxification. 0.2% to 0.3% of all G+ profiles made a public post in 2015. Jesus. Oh, sorry, I missed that thing. Mr. 09, you asked if Facebook still had a problem with fake news. They are, in fact, cracking down on it. But people are just fucking weird, man. Did anyone else see those articles recently? Like, you may be surprised to learn that the people who most often share and believe absolute fucking horseshit are old people. It's like, who's surprised to learn that? Anyone who's on the internet knows that old people are mad for conspiracies and really ridiculous shit. And that was the thing that bugged me about those articles. No, yeah, okay, it's good to know some analytics to show that the people most likely to share absolute bullshit and believe absolute bullshit but these articles are going, oh, you'll be surprised. It's not young people, it's old people. No one thought it was young people. Everyone knew it was old people. Misfoxification, what you're saying there, that's apparently what they're doing. You prefer they identified it rather than banned it. What they're doing is, well, basically disreputable pages and sources aren't getting promoted in feeds anymore, but people can still post them. But when Facebook recognizes a particular site that they believe is disreputable, there's a little thing that says about this site, and it says like, this is not reliable. They basically include a link that says this is not reliable. This site or this page has a long history of spreading false information. But the weirdest thing is, it's like with conspiracies, and I mean about people who believe the really dumb conspiracies, like the Earth is flat or the moon landings were faked. If you show, he's headbutting me, wants more attention. If you show people irrefutable evidence that the shit they're spreading about is untrue, they will actually dig their heels in harder. There were psychological studies done that shows when somebody has their identity sort of tied up with particular conspiracies, God, now I've got the hiccups. It's really hard to talk someone out of a conspiracy because they tie their identity up in the conspiracy. So when you say that isn't true, they take it as a personal attack and they don't hear the objective evidence. All they hear and feel is, this person is attacking me. And once you're into a conspiracy, it's very easy to just see everything as part of the conspiracy. When someone says what you're talking about is bullshit, they just go, oh, you're part of the conspiracy. It is so hard to reach people who are invested in, yeah, I don't know what suddenly got Mimsy's attention. Was it the troll, Mimsy? Did you not like the troll? She suddenly got very focused. Oh, PBR, I know David Icke was due to come to Australia. Some people say his visa should be revoked. I wouldn't argue against allowing David Icke. He's just weird. Like, he believes that there are lizard people at the core of the earth who secretly run everything. The royal family and all the major politicians in the world are shape-shifting lizards. I mean, I'm prepared to have someone reveal, like, oh, he's actually anti-Semitic and preaches hate speech and whatnot, because he's clearly off his trolley. Misfoxation, Jordan Peterson. Look, same deal with Peterson. I mean, Peterson is disingenuous. He's a liar. I was being polite saying disingenuous. Jordan Peterson is a liar. He panders to bigots because they worship him. He uses a lot of words to say not very much, and he's, you know, it's that whole thing. He's a stupid person's idea of a smart person. Misfoxification, you hit on something there. I would agree. He has repeatedly actively encouraged incels, which is actually dangerous. You know, incels are being radicalized into violence, and there are at least half a dozen examples of violent incidents in America that they were inspired and propelled by the incel mindset. So the whole incel thing is actively dangerous, and Peterson absolutely panders to them and encourages them. And that's serious bullshit. Yeah, David Icke, as far as I know, is just weird. Like, just believes really stupid shit. Oh God, we can't police stupid people. There are too many of them. There are too many dangerous people as well, but we take steps to police danger. I mean, I agree with the incel thing with Jordan Peterson, but I don't think that's enough to make him fail on the what do you call it? Character test. High Priestess, yes. I was being a little bit broad when I said America, counting Canada as North America. But yes, there's at least one awful incel attacking Canada with multiple fatalities. Counting the Canada one, in the last 10 or so years, there's been at least a dozen violent incel terrorist incidents, or with multiple fatalities. Oh my God, Mystery 09, I saw that Alice Walker is a David Icke defender, which is super fucking weird, and as you say, sad and depressing, in fact. But it's weird, the people that come out of the woodwork, people that you've either been a fan of or been completely okay with, who suddenly come out with something absolutely fucking ridiculous, and you're like, what? You know, what is that about? How can you believe or promote something that stupid or that evil? But people do, and it's all kinds of fucked up. But that's whenever something bad happens, people say, "Oh, how could that happen? How could someone, you know, torture that child? How could someone, you know, beat that child to death? How could someone do that mass murder?" And you go, well, if we start with the irrefutable premise that people are shit, other stuff starts to make more sense after that, because there really is no getting away from the irrefutable truth that people are shit. Well. Okay, well, look, it's 10 o'clock. I'm going to bid you fine people farewell. thanking you as per usual for your company, which has been most enjoyable. A usual wide-ranging sprawl of topics, which I just love. I was half tempted to, like, I even called this executive time. I didn't even get into that. People in the White House are saying Trump does nothing most of the time and calls it executive time. Barely got onto the weird race. Didn't even mention Liam Neeson and his weird shit. Maybe that's for Thursday night. Who knows? But thank you once again. Yes, if you want to do the thumbs up, by all means. Thank you one and all for spending some time with me. Marvelously enjoyable as always. I hope you look after yourselves and take care, and hope to see you all again sometime quite soon. But I will say bye for now.